The quiet human at Alien Academy hides a deadly secret. Every class has that student. The one who sits in the back, says little, and makes everyone uneasy without meaning to. At the Galactic Defense Academy, that student was the human. 1. The new arrival. His name was Elias Ward. He arrived quietly, no entourage, no announcement, no swagger like the Varkoth gladiator cadets or the hissing of Exians. Just a single human in a simple uniform, eyes grey and calm as still water. Humans were rare at the academy. Too rare. Most species still thought of them as primitive deathworlders, survivors, yes, but not strategists, not warriors worth formal training. Elias didn't argue. He just nodded, found a seat, and stayed out of the way. He never raised his voice. Never bragged. Never reacted. That, more than anything, unnerved the others. 2. The mockery. It started small. A few whispered jokes from the larger species. Fragile bones. Soft skin. Emotionally unstable. The Arvasian cadets, long and insectoid, loved to flick pebbles at him during drills. The Varkoth would flex their 4 arms and boast how a single punch could crush a Terran skull. Elias never replied. He just watched. Which somehow made it worse. One day, a Varkoth cadet cornered him in the mess hall. "Tell me, human," it sneered, towering over him. "What do you do on your planet? Hide in holes and hope the predators miss you?" Elias looked up from his tray, calm as always. "No. We build traps for them." The Varkoth blinked, uncertain whether that was a joke. Elias went back to eating. 3. The instructors. Even the instructors couldn't get a read on him. In combat theory, he scored perfectly. In tactical simulations, his strategies were unorthodox but flawless. In physical assessments, he never strained, never seemed to push himself, and still passed. One instructor, a Seraxi veteran named Commander Jethra, pulled him aside after class. "You're holding back," she said bluntly. Elias tilted his head. "Am I? I've seen your reactions. You calculate before you move. No cadet does that unless they've fought before." He smiled faintly. "You're observant, Commander." That wasn't a compliment. "I know." Jethra frowned. "What did you do before this academy?" He paused for a moment. "I stopped something very dangerous. That's all." It wasn't the answer she expected, and it bothered her more than she admitted. 4. The combat exam. Every midterm, cadets faced the trial of resolve, a controlled combat exam in the arena. It was meant to test teamwork, restraint, and adaptability. The Varkoth cadets made sure Elias ended up on their opposing team. "Let's see what the little deathworlders really made of," one said. The arena lights dimmed. The simulation began. Holographic terrain shimmered into place, ruins, dust, low visibility. The announcer's voice boomed. "Begin." The Varkoth charged in, roaring. Elias moved. No one saw exactly how. One moment, the Varkoth were rushing forward. The next, their own rifles were on the ground, safeties locked, triggers jammed, circuits fried. One cadet swung at him, massive, unstoppable. Elias stepped aside, swept his leg, and sent him crashing down with surgical precision. 3 seconds later, it was over. The silence afterward was heavier than the sound of the crowd. 5. The secret. When the simulation ended, the instructors reviewed the footage. They slowed it frame by frame. Elias's movements weren't random, they were patterned. Each counterstrike, each motion, timed perfectly to exploit neural lag in his opponents. His weapon disarms weren't instinct, they were trained. Military precision. Not self-defense. Not luck. Experience. Commander Jethra summoned him to her office that night. "Where did you learn those moves?" she asked quietly. Elias stared at the wall for a long time before answering. Project Sentinel. She blinked. That's classified Terran military. Yes, What were you, Cadet Ward? He met her gaze. A weapon they retired. I wanted to see if I could be something else. 6. The leak. Word spread fast, too fast. Rumors flew that the human was an assassin, a super soldier, an experiment escaped from a black site. The same cadets who'd mocked him before now gave him a wide berth. Except for one. The Varkoth bruiser he'd humiliated in the trial couldn't let it go. He cornered Elias again, in the hangar this time. No weapons, the alien growled. Just fists. Let's see what you're really made of. Elias sighed. Don't do this. The Varkoth roared and charged. Elias stepped aside, tapped the alien's arm, and the Varkoth collapsed mid-stride, gasping, paralyzed. Pressure point, Elias said quietly. Reversible. If I wanted to kill you, you wouldn't have felt it. He crouched beside the fallen cadet, voice almost gentle. Don't mistake quiet for weakness. 7. The invasion. The Academy didn't have long to reflect on the lesson. 2 weeks later, a distress signal cut through the comms. Pirates, real ones, had breached the outer defense ring. The cadets were evacuated to the lower hangars, but Elias slipped away. When Commander Jethro found him, he was already in a dropship, calibrating its weapons. You're not cleared for combat, she snapped. He looked up. Neither are they. Then he launched. 8. The human unleashed. The pirates didn't know what hit them. The first wave of ships exploded before they reached orbit. The second wave met the dropship head-on and were dismantled, piece by piece, by a single pilot who knew exactly where to strike. The Academy's long-range sensors recorded the entire thing, Elias's craft weaving through enemy fire like it was choreographed. When the last ship fell, the cadets watching from the bunker could only stare. The quiet human had become something else entirely, something the galaxy's finest soldiers could barely comprehend. 9. The aftermath. When the dust settled, Elias landed the dropship and stepped out, helmet under his arm. Commander Jethro met him on the tarmac. Why didn't you tell us? She asked. He shrugged. Would you have believed me? She didn't answer. Later, when the council commended him for bravery, he turned down the medals. I didn't come here for that, he said simply. I came to learn if I could stop fighting. 10. Epilogue. Elias graduated top of his class but refused every military commission offered to him. He took a teaching position instead, combat ethics. When new cadets arrived and whispered about the quiet human professor, the older ones just smiled knowingly. Because everyone at the Academy now understood one thing. Still waters weren't calm. They were deep. And if you weren't careful, they could drown you.